very interesting and informative session. The timing of this session is excellent because it coincides with the recent announcement of Horizon 2020, which in fact contained an important element for small and medium enterprise for their funding aspects. Fingal County Council is committed to developing stronger partnerships at a local, regional, European and global level in order to support further investment, growth and sustainability. And in light of this, in Fingal County Council we've recently established a new department for economic development services. We're currently working on setting up a local enterprise office within the council which will take over and enhance the current County Enterprise Board, an already very successful County Enterprise Board which will move into the council and will have all the services under one roof in County Hall in our Swords office. We're very fortunate here in Fingal that we have one of Ireland's 8 Europe Direct centres right here in Blanchardstown in our library. And in partnership with my department, they've put together a programme of very important and topical themes. Of course, that includes funding, but it also includes elements such as support for entrepreneur exchanges, online presence, and support for wider collaboration so that we can do business with our European partners. I took a look at the attendance list before I came in, and I can see that there's attendees here from established businesses, small and medium enterprise. And I'm delighted to see that there's quite a number of public sector employees here, because I think that shows our very strong and joint commitment to support your businesses. So I suppose I'll finish up by saying that I and my team are looking very much forward to working with you and to supporting the achievement of our shared ambition, which is to grow our opportunities to do business in Fingal and further afield. I'll hand you back over to Bethany. My colleague will facilitate the rest of the morning.
All of you should have an agenda. We have our colleagues from the European Enterprise Network and Enterprise Ireland. It's broken into 2 sessions. I understand the one-to-ones later on in the morning are now booked up, is that right? Yeah. Okay. So we have some really interesting speakers, and hopefully it will be of fair use to you. Before we get into the meeting to veg, so to speak, a quick overview of the learning exchange itself. This small morning is part of a series of seminars we've been doing for the last 12 months or so, which are based on a very simple premise that more heads are better than 2 heads. So we've been working with a number of different people over a period around local economic and social development challenges. Oops. We're particularly interested in this intersection between the citizen, academia, public service, business and community groups. So as Ethel says, I think this exchange reflects perhaps that, and I suppose for my benefit as much as the speakers and perhaps yourself, I'm going to ask to pause for a moment and can I ask those of you who are in academia, be it research, be it students, to put up your hands please. You're very welcome. Can I ask those who are in the public services of any sorts, whose job involves perhaps supporting small, medium enterprises, to pop your hands, please? Very good, and you're very welcome. Can I ask those from the business sector, from start-ups to small, medium enterprises to budding entrepreneurs, to pop your hands, please? Very good. And lastly, but by no means least, those who are in the community and civic sector or citizens who are interested in the topic, put up your hands. So there's a very good spread, I think, of people across those areas. And like I said, really, when we get those different types of perspectives, different types of people from different backgrounds, that's where we feel the potential for change exists. So, like I said, we get people together to talk, grow ideas and make impact. The initial exchange series has concentrated on the area of social enterprise, or business with a social purpose. We've been working with partners from the Irish Social Enterprise Network and others, the outcome of which we hope to grow social enterprise in Fingal, and we've worked up a body of contacts, networks, and expertise, around that subject, which we hope to put to good use in these next months and years indeed to, grow that particular part of our sector. This seminar, this exchange here was done in conjunction, or is done in conjunction with Europe Direct. I'd ask Susan, perhaps you might stand up. Susan is our resident Europe Direct person, and she's been very much instrumental in putting together the speakers here today. So we're going to continue our relationship with Europe Direct, a social business initiative, of which you guys probably know about from the European Network. It's something which distinctly looks at business for a social purpose. So when we do an exchange next, in the next 2 to 3 months, we're going to look at the area of social business initiative and the guidelines from Europe around 2014 and 20, and work with collaborators and partners, perhaps to bring in resources to Fingal along that. And I say to you, for any here who's interested in that journey or interested in coming and linking up with persons interested in business with a social purpose, join us, or we're happy details and let you know when that happens. Very quick flag, our next learning exchange is back with our regular stable partners, and that's the ITB, Institute of Technology Blanchardstown, just down the road. We're going to do a session on income generation models, particularly interested in community buildings and facilities, and how, I guess in a time when public finances are contracting, facilities can look to see how they can differ and organise their income streams, and also the proverbial reaching your audience or reaching new audiences. And we have in the room helping us a team from ITB, Crowne Digital Media School, which are very welcome, and they're going to help us with that. So, at the end, we want your feedback. I'd ask, when we do have the presentations, in the meat of it, there's 2 natural breaks where we're going to have questions and answers, and perhaps a wee bit of a discussion. And I'd like to welcome Marion, and her team here today. And perhaps Marion, you'll come up and take us through our first presentation. Thanks very much.
So I'm Marion. I run the Enterprise Europe Network office in Dublin, in the Dublin Chamber of Commerce, but we cover all the Leinster region. So I'm just here this morning to give you a short overview of the Enterprise Europe Network and some of our services. So the Enterprise Europe Network was set up by the European Commission in 2008 to assist SMEs in doing business internationally. So when I say SMEs, like we use the EU definition of SMEs, that means company with up to 250 staff, which can be kind of big company. We have about 600 partners in 54 countries. It's mainly in Europe, as you can see on the map, but it's an ever-expanding network. So we have just recently opened an office in Brazil. Like it's not on the map yet, but it's always growing. In Ireland, all our partner organizations are hosted in chambers of commerce or regional development agencies, which means that they have very good connection with the local business community. In Ireland, the Enterprise Europe Network services are provided by 5 chambers of commerce and by Enterprise Ireland, which is a national coordinator for the project. So as I say, in the Leinster region, your main point of contact will be with the Dublin Chamber of Commerce. In terms of the services that we provide, well, just to make things simple and for something that you will remember, really what we do is like an international business dating agency. So if you're looking for business partners overseas, you can contact us and we can help you in sourcing distributors, suppliers, etc. Another part of the service that we provide is advising SMEs in European legislation and European funding opportunities. We don't provide funding as such, but we can look at all the funding that are available with you and see if you may be eligible for one or another type of funding. The project is partly funded by the European Commission, which means that most of the services are free of charge for SMEs. Okay, just to look a little bit more in depth at all these services. So as I said, the main service is assisting SMEs in doing business internationally. So what can we do for you? Well, first of all, we can use the network to do some market research and to get you some information on the markets. We can also help you in sourcing new business partners. So how do we do that? I don't know if you contact me, for instance, that you are saying that you are looking for new business partners in Spain. I will send you a form to complete, like asking you who you are, what you are doing, exactly what type of partners you are looking for, and then I will send this information to my Spanish colleagues, and I will ask them to look for a suitable business partner for your business. We also organize some business mission and some country-specific events. We have an upcoming business mission to London on the 21st and 22nd of May that we'll organize in conjunction with the Enterprise Europe Network London. Here are some case studies of companies that have used our services. The first one is a lady that has just created a website where she sells organic cosmetics. So she was looking for new suppliers, and we used the network to help her in identifying new suppliers. Another case study would be Acumen, a facility management company. They took part in a mission to Manchester about 2 years ago, and as a result of that mission, they have now set up their British office in Manchester. Another example would be Susan Hayes. Susan contacted us in 2010. At the time, she was a sole trader. She specialized in financial training, and she was looking for opportunities overseas. So after an initial meeting, we identified some opportunity for her in Malta. We had a business delegation from Malta coming to Dublin, and following that, she has been doing lots of business over there, and she has grown her company. But she's actually currently doing business in Malta and in the UK. But even though if she needs some more contact, she will come to us as well for introductions and so on. The second part of the service is really providing advice on European legislation and national member state legislation. We are not lawyers, we are not solicitors, but we can provide you with general information on CE marking and intra-community VAT. You have some examples there of companies that have used the services. Just to give you another example, we were recently contacted by an Irish company specialized in fire safety certificates, and these SMEs had been asked by one of their big clients to provide them with a certificate for a building in Paris. So they knew that they could do it through the service directive, but we assisted them with part of the administration work and so on. And finally, we also provide advice on funding, European funding opportunities. So, as I've said, we do not provide funding, but we can help you in identifying the right funding for your company. Colin is going to talk a little bit more about it in the second part, about Horizon 2020, which is really the big funding schemes for research and innovation. But just to give you a broad picture in that first part, broadly speaking, we can kind of split that the European funding scheme into 3 parts. The first part are really the thematic funds, which are funding that are managed at European level and that are usually funding provided by the Commission policy that they support and where they see a specific interest at European level, being innovation, being energy efficiency or green projects. And these projects usually are highly competitive and usually request partners from several countries. But Ireland has been pretty good in terms of securing funding under FP7. And in terms of the international partners, you have the national contact point in Enterprise Ireland, you have the Enterprise Europe Network, so we can really help you in identifying partners for this funding. The second part would be the structural funds, which are more managed at national level, so that would be funding that you could access through your enterprise board or through Enterprise Ireland, or through, SCAI. And finally, the last one are financial instruments. Thank you. So the two first parts are really that type of grants, whereas the financial instrument is more like if you are looking for a loan and you can't access necessarily like funding with a bank, or you are looking for a loan at a specific rate, so that funding that you can access through programs such as Microfinance Ireland or the EID loans. And really, if you're interested in that part, what you should do is to go to that website, which is called accesstofinance.eu. And then if you click on Ireland on the map, you will get that screen, so that allows you like to see all the funding that are currently available for companies in Ireland. So that's it for now. That's my contact details, and if you have any question, I will be available after the event. Thank you.
Okay, I'll ask you to hold any questions
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Borla. I'm a colleague of Marian's at the International Department in the Dublin Chambers. So, and today I just want to tell you about another one of our programs called Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs. So, if I asked you what Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs is, I'd imagine that most of you will be able to more or less guess just based on the title. So in short, it's an international business exchange program for both new and more experienced entrepreneurs. And to understand the program, there's three kind of definitions that we would tend to use. The first is a new entrepreneur. That's someone that's in the early stages of entrepreneurship. So someone that either has a kind of a viable business idea, or someone who's only just set up their business in the last 3 years. So I imagine that applies to a lot of you. Otherwise, there's the host entrepreneur, and that's generally a business owner or the manager of an SME, someone with lots of business experience. So they agree to take on the host entrepreneur, the host entrepreneur agrees to take on the new entrepreneur for a short work placement. So they mentor them and share their knowledge and expertise. And then there's the coordinator, the intermediary organisation, and that's us. We're the organisation that helps organise business. So in Ireland, that's Dublin Chamber and Rathdown County Enterprise Board. We would look at all the applications for this programme and help match the new entrepreneur with the host entrepreneur. So just to kind of re-explain that, you have a new entrepreneur from one EU country. They have an idea for a business, they apply online for the programme, and we at the Chamber help them to find somewhere in Ireland a suitable company that could really help them out, in their sector and somewhere where they'd like to work. So this new entrepreneur then travels to Ireland for a work placement of about 1 to 3 months, and the host entrepreneur will help them and share their expertise, etc. So why would you want to participate in this? But I think one of the main strengths of the programme is the quality of the new entrepreneurs that actually sign up to it. These are really, really highly qualified people. Sometimes they have masters, they often have an excellent level of English. And the host entrepreneur really stands to gain from having someone so talented in their company. And they can get a fresh perspective on their business and kind of come up with new ideas for expanding into the European market. Another advantage would be that both parties really get to focus on the areas they want to learn about or the areas they want to focus on, because they arrange a work plan in advance for the placement. So if the new entrepreneur really wants to learn about sales and communication, like they don't have much experience in that, they can say, can we include that in the work plan, please? And if the host entrepreneur wants the new entrepreneur to carry out some kind of research into the international market or build up some contacts, they can ask for that to be included in the work plan. Finally, there's no cost to the host, because the new entrepreneur gets paid a monthly grant for the duration of their stay. So the grant ranges from about €560 to €1,100 per month, depending on the country you go to. And IO, the chamber, or whichever organisation, is always on hand to help out with this funding. If you have any questions, we'll just keep checking that the work placement is running smoothly, and if you have any questions, we're here. So I'm just going to finish up with 2 case studies of recent partnerships that we've helped facilitate in the chamber. The first was between Jerry Delaney, who owns a company called Kendallbell in Kimmage, and Muriel, a French entrepreneur who wanted to gain business experience in Dublin. So Jerry's company, Kendallbell, provides services for businesses looking to outsource their admin, and this was an area that Muriel wanted to get into, and with the help of the chamber, they were able to organise the 3-month work placement. I should probably also mention at this point that the programme is open to anyone between the ages of 18 to 65, as long as you have that business idea. So, because you might think from the title that it's only there for students, Erasmus is something we usually tend to associate with students, but Muriel was 45 when she participated, so really it's open to all ages. And their exchange went really well. Muriel really improved her English and learned loads about running a business. And we can see here, sorry, there's a slide missing, but anyway, I'll just tell you what Jerry said about it. He just felt the benefit of the program was that it helps you develop your business overseas, because Muriel was able to help him build up French contacts and like strong relationships with French businesses on the ground. Now our second variant was more recent. We sent Barry, who's on the right there, a young NCAD student from Monaghan, to a furniture design company in Paris. So that was from November 2013 to January 2014. He just finished up in the last couple of weeks. So Barry had really good design ideas, and he wanted to develop his own collection of furniture, but he didn't really know that much about running a business, and that's where Rod from the company More Room in Paris, he really helped hugely with this. He was training and mentoring Barry in sales and communications and product design, and now that the exchange is over, Rod is looking to expand his company into Ireland, and Barry can kind of help him act as an agent with that. Yeah, sorry. So this is what Barry said about the programme. He just felt it was an excellent opportunity, especially for people who have no formal business training, because it gives them that first-hand expertise. And for him, it really gave him that push to, maybe without the programme, he might have gone off the idea of starting his business, but now it's given him a real push and helped his ambition. So just finally, how to apply. Yeah, how to apply. You can go on Erasmus, entrepreneurs.eu, and you register online and create a profile, and then your profile goes on the database, and people all across Europe can see your company and select you as a host entrepreneur or as a new entrepreneur. And you can find more information at these websites, or ask me. And yeah, just to sum up, if you haven't understood anything that I've said, if you're interested in the programme, there's 2 things we can do for you. If you have a business idea, we can send you to another EU country for a work placement. If you're a business owner, we can arrange for a talented new entrepreneur to come for a work placement in your company. So if you have any other questions, just please ask me.
Okay, thanks very much, Orla. It strikes me that some very, very good opportunities there. 2 things were jumping out. The travelling aspect and speaking to each other, which I think we do quite well. So, certainly, I think they're 2 interesting points. I think I'd be interested, certainly, Orla, in terms of the host organisations and, experience of host organisations. The other thing I think you touched on, Marion, 600 partners in 54 countries. It'd be interesting to hear, what partners in particular or what countries, have, generated links, particularly with, places within this region, perhaps in Fingal or the Dublin area. May I ask if any of you have any queries or questions to either Marion or Orla at this stage?
Is it applied to both public and private sector? Could a private sector organisation tap into that as well as a private company? Or, you know, is it applied to both, or how does that aspect work? And I'm interested, I see it's between the age of 18 and 65, so I just qualify in on the 18 side just in case. But just in case.
So really it is open to anyone. It's, I'm just not sure, do you mean if you're working in the public sector, would it be open to you?
Would it be open to placing other public sector staff into that area, or it could be twin, or, you know, is it open to public sector?
I think really it's mostly open to private sector, because if you're the new entrepreneur, you have a business idea, and that's kind of in its nature private sector. So, and if it's a host, yeah, I think it would mostly be private sector, because you have to have your own business, a lot of experience, and you know, you're a business owner yourself. Do you follow?
I do, yeah. There is a lot of entrepreneurship in the public sector as well too.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we haven't had that yet, but I'm just, yeah,
okay,
I can check that out for you.
Thanks. Okay, thank you.
Very good, David. Perhaps that's something we can press home with them. Any other questions or queries for either Marion? Yep.
Collaboration on distribution networks, would they be just in Europe or all over the world? Are they for any particular type of products and companies, or for everyone?
Thanks. Well, we have offices outside in 54 countries, so that really covers these 54 countries. As you could see on the map, most of them are in Europe, but we have offices in China, in the States, in Chile, for instance. So that's a thing that you can use. In terms of the sector, you just have to be an SME, so it doesn't really matter. Like we have like companies like Susan within a trainer. We have also like some manufacturing companies looking for new suppliers. So it's cross sector.
Great, thanks, Marion. Any other questions or queries? That's fine.
Okay, I'm Colin Bowe. I work with Enterprise Ireland and I worked in new product development for about 34 years. I started off originally on WIRS, and my job was to help companies develop products. It amuses me regularly when I hear people, the first thing is you mention China, people say, oh, the first thing they'll do is take your product apart. My job 30 odd years ago was what we euphemistically called import substitution, which was taking in products from abroad, reverse engineering them and trying to make them here. So it's a perfectly legitimate way of getting products. We could let it come into the whole area of patents and things like that, which we won't talk about today. Today I want to talk to you about technology transfer. Really it's aimed at people who need to take technologies in or developing technologies, but I'd like you to think a little bit beyond just the concept of technical ideas. I probably wonder a little bit because I get the feeling there's a very wide audience here, so I might stray a little bit, so we keep you on target time-wise, okay? We just wind this down.
I think we're on a winding stroke.
Here come. So what we want to do is talk about technology transfer it's just another form of partnering like anybody else, like other people spoke about here. It's about finding partners, finding technologies. If you develop technologies, it's really about expanding your business. It all comes down to just growing your business, and I'm assuming that's what everybody in the audience here is involved in some way or other. So I'll talk a little bit about the Enterprise Europe Network. Marion's already spoken about it, all of us spoken about it, but I'll talk about the technology partnering in that. So it's really well on. Okay, sorry, we'll just scroll through this. Okay, technology transfer, what is it? If you're part of the academic community, technology transfer probably means for you commercialization of research. That is technology transfer, but I look at it a slightly different way. First of all, it's a two-way street. You can either be on the receiving end of technology coming in, you can acquire it, or you can have developed technology and you're putting it out to the wider world. There's reasons we'll come into later why you do that. Mainly it's, okay, if you're a small startup company here, in reality in Ireland, your first port of call if you're going overseas is the UK. You know, it takes time, you have to grow, you know, technology transfer might give you the opportunity to partner with somebody in the States, somebody in Australia, on a license royalty deal, where you can get a revenue stream much quicker. So, as I said, it works both ways. So, you know, so it can be in or out. That's the main message there. You can be in either side. I'll be talking mainly about technology transfer in because that's predominantly what clients here tend to do. Okay. Think about acquiring technology. When you say, you know, we're going to develop a technology, our business requires a technology. The first protocol for most companies is R&D. That's the first thing that springs to mind because we all have a feeling, I think, for what, you know, if you're going to develop something, you go out to your garage out the back, or you have a eureka moment somewhere, and you develop your product. I think one thing I ask everybody to do is remember to play to your individual strengths. If you're an engineer, you're good at engineering. If you're if your forte is marketing, you're good at marketing. That's what you know. I think everybody, particularly if you're starting a small business, you're growing a business, you should remember that you can't do everything. So I've often seen girls who start a technical business. They're really good at the technical side of it, and the business fails not because the technology is bad, the concept's bad. It's because they try to do everything. So they'll end up going well outside the sphere of expertise and making a complete mess of it. Businesses fail or succeed based on a whole myriad of talents and expertise. So if you haven't got it yourself, make sure you get it somewhere else. It is about partnering, it is about bringing stuff in. So anyway, if you want to develop something, either do it the R&D, or you can take it in to a technology transfer type arrangement, which is what address. Okay. So look at that. Simple scenario, as I say there. If you were the first person developing the thing on the left there, which is a turbine, this is old hat. Would you start from scratch? Simple, you wouldn't. You'd start looking at the propeller industry. You'd start looking at things that look a little bit like it. So you take parts of the technology on the right-hand side, you transport it in. Don't reinvent the wheel. If it's out there already and you can get it under some sort of reasonable agreement, don't waste your time reinventing things. It's usually time-consuming and costly. Why would you do it? Okay, I say here, there's lots of here, I won't go through them all. Fast return on investment. If you can take something in its entirety, completed, ready to go, ready to put on the road, it makes sense. It really does. It's already been developed, so you bring in something that's somebody else developed. If anybody here has ever been involved in an R&D project, I'm sure there's a few, you realise it's fraught with problems, hiccups. I mean, I've a very good company I've been working with a couple of years. They put their first prototype, the first product out on the market, big launch, and they encountered very quickly operating conditions that they hadn't foreseen that would recall everything. When you take something in the tech transfer arrangement, it's usually proven in another market. It's already proven. Somebody's gone through those headaches. So to some extent, it can be a bit safer for you. So you short time to market, possibly lower cost. I say possibly lower cost. That's something you've got to evaluate always. Part of any license agreement, any technical agreement you take something in under would include some technical assistance. So it would be in there in a legal agreement, in a clause saying that for the first year, if there's a problem, you give us support. Or if you're on the other side of the equation, you'll have to commit, if you're doing an agreement with somebody around tech transfer, you'll have to agree to give them support for a while. Somebody, I think was all I mentioned earlier on, one of the big aspects of this is you've got a small company, you bring something in, you bring in the technology, you get skills, your company gains skills. So, as I said, there's a few more there. I need to concentrate. Go to the end one there. This is an interesting one. Reduce legal and financial risk. If you partner with a company outside the EU, for example, and you agree to manufacture and sell their product on a license, they get away because they're now manufacturing in Europe with your partnership. They don't have to pay the import duty. Likewise, if you're trying to export and you can partner with a local company, do a license agreement with them, okay, you get a royalty stream, revenue stream from there, but you also can avoid a lot of import duties by having it manufactured locally. So there are lots of different reasons why you could go down this route. Of course, there's negatives as well. You license something, it will be under certain conditions. For example, you might take a technology and you might be, it might be an application-specific license you get, so you can only use that technology for one application. It might be territorially controlled, so you might only be allowed to manufacture and sell in a particular territory. So it will be controlled, that's the downside, and also you've obviously got to pay for it, so there's a bit of a financial drag from royalty stream. So every time you do this, you've got to balance it out. I should add that sometimes if you're in a particular area and you're trying to develop trying to build a business, and you require a particular technology, you might have no choice but to license it in, because if it's patented, if the IP is owned, and you need access to it, the only way to get it is to deal with that company. So sometimes this is not by choice, it's by necessity you have to do it. I think people have to sleep here, it's not too bad. What is a license? If you have a technology license, it's an agreement, it's a partnership, it's a formal legal document like anything else. So I say it's permission to do something that could otherwise be restrained, it's a legally framed commercial activity. As I said, there's lots of ways of looking at it, but really what it is, it's a formal agreement, it's like any other contract. You agree to do something for a cost, or you agree to give somebody access to something for a cost, but it is formal, it's very, very well spelled out, it's very well orchestrated and planned in advance. So it requires a lot of very deliberate thought and planning to get this in place. So other aspects of licensing and partnership agreements like this is instigates trust and cooperation. Bear in mind, a lot of licenses will be for a duration of patent, which is 20 years. So you will be working with this partner company for quite a long time, potentially. So it's important that you trust them, you get on with them. And I'd always say, if you're doing any sort of partnering arrangement and you wouldn't go for a drink with the person, you don't trust them, or you wouldn't sort of go out and have a meal with them, probably step out of it early on, because it won't last. You have to be open, honest. It's slightly different to normal transactional business arrangements where you're buying stock or whatever. Where you go in, you go to a steel supplier, for example, if you're in an engineering environment, you buy steel because it's the cheapest price, best quality, and that's it. Next time you go out to buy it again, you can buy it from any of the stores. So there's no ongoing relationship usually. No obligation of an ongoing relationship. This is different. So you have to approach it differently. Okay? It must be mutually beneficial. There's nobody's going to get into an arrangement where long-term arrangement where both parties don't benefit. So that's important. A degree of openness, as I said, that is critical in a license arrangement, because you have to work in a very, very different way with the company. It's in a partnership arrangement. As I said, intellectual property rights can be complicated, but actually, I don't know how many people here have IP. Many people here are developing IP in their business, hope to protect it. Start thinking about values in your companies, in your business, outside just manufacture and sale or selling services. There's know-how, there's lots of things you pick up as you go along that have intrinsic value. I am constantly amazed going into companies, and I've been doing this for 34 years. They have very, very clever ways of operating, clever manufacturing processes, that they regard as unimportant, when actually in a lot of cases that's where they're making their money. That's the key element to it. You should really examine what you do, how you do it, and do this fairly frequently and try and pinpoint what's giving you the success. That's tough. That's a conversation with another thing. But do bear that in mind. So IP, if you can get some IP out, it's very important. So we look at strategy. So you decide you're trying to build your business, you want to take a license in, or as I said on the other side, if you want to try and expand license out, it really must be part of your company strategy. You have to plan it. It has to be organised. So you need to understand. It's not something you just dip in and out of. You need to understand how it fits into the company activities. If it's a slightly bigger company, it has to buy in from management. Management have to be behind this. It has to be seen as a viable, sensible option for acquiring technologies, and it does require time and effort to do it properly. And I say the last thing there, it's not as simply a find me a product solution. A lot of people said, in recent years have been struggling, they've been getting into difficulties, and last port of call is, oh, we've got a manufacturing facility here, we need something to manufacture, and they will immediately jump onto the first product they can find. That is a very, very dangerous way to go, and usually is to be avoided at all costs, okay? So, you decided you need to bring in, you develop your product, you need to bring in the technology. What do? You identify what the opportunities are, what you need to acquire. Analyze how, exactly what it is, what you're going to do, how you're going to incorporate it. Profile it, draw up a specification of what you want. You then search, negotiate a deal, and the nurture part at the end is, a lot of people, when you get to the end of a negotiation like this, you say, okay, we're going to give you this technology for 10 years at such a cost, and you think that's the end of it. It's not. You've got to take it in. That's where the transfer part comes up. You have the technology transfer statement. So when I say profiling, so you define what you want. What sort of technology, what performance do you need, how much is it going to cost, obviously, because if it's too expensive, you're not going to use it. The markets, what are you competing against? What advantage is it going to give you? What are other people doing to solve this particular problem? What sort of transfer arrangements will you have with the company? So you need to say what clauses, how's this partnership going to work, and you need to know that in advance before you start going into it. And what type of partner you want. So, say for example, you've developed a gadget for weeding the garden, and you want to partner with a company, and you've done it in a very clever way, and you want to license this technology to somebody. The ideal licensee is somebody who already has a route to market for this type of product, who can get it on every shelf in every garden centre, every hardware shop. They're your partners, so you need to think about it. Giving it to one small company in a particular country probably is not. You need distribution, that's what you do. So think about what sort of partners you want, what you need them to do. Develop the specification. As I said, it must be narrowly focused. You need to know, be very precise about what you want. What you're doing, this is just a word of caution, it should complement what you're doing already, okay? So, if you're expanding your business or growing your business on a very small scale, and you're already in business, and you want to introduce a new product into a new market, or your existing product into a new market, okay, there's some unknowns, but you know the product really well, so it's relatively not too difficult for you to pitch it to a new market. If you're introducing a new product into your existing market, you know your customers. Again, you've got some hurdles, but not huge ones. The thing you need to avoid, it gets very dangerous when you start to introduce an unknown product to you into a new market, because then there's too many unknowns. And so think about it, expand your business, grow your business in a very, very logical, sensible, well-thought-out way. I'm flying through these, by the way. At the end of this, if I say anything that sort of sparks a bit of interest with you, take my contact details. You can phone me at any time and discuss your particular business, your particular interests, and where you are on the evolutionary scale, and I'm quite happy to address your issues or keep you some guidance if I can. Bottom one there, you have to have the expertise in place to take a new technology, if you license it or not. There's no point taking something you don't understand that you can't work. So you may need to employ people, you may need to upskill your own staff, you may need to upskill yourself. So bear that in mind as well. We've got an issue here. Can I go through these slides individually? Please come in. It doesn't matter. I'll talk about it, don't worry about it. Where do you search? This was about the whole search process, okay? And there's lots of hidden behind those, but anyway. So, client knowledge. So, first place is, if you're in a particular sector, if you're in a particular market, you deal with journalists, you're dealing with people in that sector all the time. So there's lots of information you have in-house, there's lots of information your suppliers have, your customers have. Tap into that first. So gather up the information you know. So in other words, you'll be looking at how the problem you're trying to solve, the technology you're trying to seek, how is this solved by other companies? What are people advertising? What do your customers need? And so on and so forth. So look at what you have yourself in your own business. Then move outside. We're fortunate now compared to where we were 20 odd years ago, 30 years ago. We've got the internet. You can get massive amounts of information, some of it useful, from all over the world. So do that. Patent searches, patent databases. If anyone hasn't ever done this before, SPASnet is a very, very good search engine for patents. So, you get a lot of information on what's been done before, how you do it, and it's all accessible to you and from your PC. So search, see what's out there, what solutions are available. Refine your search, like with everything else. You gather all the information and then apply some criteria based on what your requirements are. Narrow the search down. Let's say work the short list. You have 5 or 6, 10, maybe 10 prospects. You contact all those prospects. You get the information in. You work with them, and then you eventually come to one potential partner. So what I'm saying is, it's a logical, systematic way of going through this. I'm not going to dwell on it too much. As I said, if anybody wants to talk about it afterwards, or is going down this route, let me know. I'll be happy to talk to them. Negotiation. So you've agreed with somebody, whichever side you're on, that there's potential for partnership there. Negotiating a license is, or an agreement like this, is something most small companies haven't done. It's new, it's a different experience, and requires a slightly different skill set and a different approach. As I said earlier on, trust is important. You actually have to negotiate this sort of agreement on the basis that you're going to be working with this person for a long time. You have to negotiate on the basis that your potential partner has to earn money out of this as well. So it has to be seen as intrinsically fair for the last. So you, as I said, normally your negotiation tactics in business are you get stuff as cheap as possible and you walk away from it. In this case, you're not. You have to make sure that your partner's good. It's a bit like a marriage there. It's like you have to work on both sides. It has to be fair. It has to be equal. Your negotiation requires a high level of preparation and planning. If anyone is going into a partnership deal, a technology transfer deal, I'd be happy to sit down with them before they go into negotiation and go through the process and how to approach it. It's logical, it's simple. As I said, it must be. Okay, that's the technology transfer concept. So I've flown through it, but as I said, come to me if you feel you're in the situation. It's all about partnering, it's all about trying to make your life easier and getting easier solutions than otherwise. I'm going to talk a little bit about the EEN. You've seen that slide before, Marion had it up, and something like that, so we ignore that one. You've seen that one as well. There are partners. I fit into the Enterprise Ireland one there. We concentrate mainly, from a partnering point of view, we concentrate mainly on the technology transfer partners. So in other words, when we're looking for partners around technology, service, or something that you developed or something you acquired to produce your product. It's more technology than business. As I said, my background is purely technical. I spent my whole life working in the technical area. The sort of partnerships we're looking at, and that's the, so that's the national value chain for business. Like, so you start with research, you develop production. So you see again the type of deals you can have at each stage. Like it's technical cooperation is really what it's all about. So it could be a joint venture, it could be a manufacturing agreement, license agreement, or a commercial agreement with some sort of technical assistance, and they can come in at various stages across the site. That just sort of tries to sum up the, as I said at the very start, this can be either way. You can develop the technology and you're trying to improve your revenue stream or expand your business based around what you developed, or you could be trying to take a technology and to improve your business from somewhere else. So, so that's just sort of puts it in, and it's all around a bit in the middle of the partnership. That's what tech transfer is all about. So, from an Enterprise Ireland point of view, we have, as Marion said, we've got a lot of partners in a lot of countries. We've got a system whereby we can put up offers and requests for technology and disseminate them to a very, very wide audience. So we can get you into 50 plus companies. I'm a bit out of date, that's now 54 companies. So we can basically put an ad up saying, we have a company in Ireland looking for this technology to solve this problem. Or we can say we have a company in Ireland to develop this technology, this product, this type of service, and they're looking for people to license it abroad, or people who can even avail it and want to partner. And we can get it out to an extremely wide audience. It's worth trying. So what we do is, if you're in that position, we will put together a profile for you, with you. We will put it on our database. It goes out to all our equivalents in all these countries. You will hopefully get expressions of interest from interested parties abroad. We put you in touch, and you take. So it's, as Marion said earlier on, it's a dating agency. Can't guarantee blondes or 6-foot guys with lots of money or whatever way, but it's it is a very good first party call. It costs nothing, and it's a good way of trying to find partners for you. I would add a couple of points. Your contact details don't go up in the database. It's up anonymously. The profiles are written in a way where we say an Irish company has developed this technology, or an Irish company are seeking this type of technology. We don't name you. We can keep the profiles subtle enough that we're not disclosing what your technology is in any great detail. It's about what it does, what the advantages are. We act as an interface, so if you put it up and there's a lot of interest in it, you don't get bombarded with people phoning from all over the world. We get the requests. We will ask you, are you interested in speaking to this company? If you're not, we let them know gently and break off the contact. And if you are, again, we step back and put you in touch with you. So it's done in a sense. The reason for that, by the way, is not secrecy or anything like that. We found in the early days, this evolved a little bit from the old Innovation Relay Centre 10 years ago. The early days we found that people would put profiles up and they would discover that people interested in them were parts of the sister companies in another area or competitors, and got a bit awkward. So there are lots of reasons why you don't want your name to be given out straight away. So anyway, so there is a level of anonymity involved. So as you can say, at any given time, there's thousands and thousands of offers and requests up on the system. Now they will include business offers, like Marion referred to earlier on, where you're looking for agents or business suppliers. Will also include technology offers and requests. So what I'd say is, go onto our website and okay, this is what an offer looks like. It's sort of, you won't be able to read it, but basically it covers title, brief abstract of sort of what it is, what you're looking for, a more detailed description. It goes on then to deal with what type of partner you want, what the requirements of the partner are, what countries you're dealing in. It can be tailored really to suit your requirements. That's really all we get across the next couple of slides. What I would, okay, who can use it? It's open to anyone. It's funded by EU, it's free. You are welcome to come, anybody from an individual starting a business to public service, to a university, multinationals, SME. It's an SME network, and it used to be a European SME network, but it's actually spread much wider in Europe now. if you have this sort of requirement, it's open to you, you can use it. The only thing that you're not allowed doing it, and it is vetted, is you're not allowed to use it to just advertise your product. There has to be a level of knowledge transfer involved in the process. So what I'd ask you to do, if you're interested, or just if you have a bit of time, is go onto our website, Enterprise Europe Ireland website, just type in Enterprise Europe Ireland and come to that. On the main page is the search engine, keyword search. Put in something that suits you, have a look at it, and see the way the things are structured. Remember, it goes out to a very wide audience. If you think you can avail of this service, come contact myself, contact Marion, or anybody in the Enterprise Europe Network, and we'll talk you through it and maybe help you, okay? So that's about the size of it. And as I said, a few things I think. It is free. It's open to everybody. We don't fund anything. We don't have any funding, but we can give you a lot of support. I spend a lot of my time talking to startup companies who have an idea, and it really is around building a business from a very early stage, from just an idea, a technical concept, right through to expanding it overseas. So, thank you. Lecture number 1.
Lauren, thanks very much. I worked with that Value Relay Centre, go back to John Brady, the team a long time.
Right,
So
okay.
I know well in terms of that service, and it is free, it's very good. The likes of TEDs and things like that, links that are great access into Europe. Could I just ask one very simple thing?
Sure.
You use the term technology. If I have clients who are in the area of software, does software apply there the same?
Software is
the same
technology.
process?
I mean, it's not, okay, technology is...
There's been a big emphasis there on manufacturing,
Well,
which I fully understand, but from a software
From a
perspective.
software perspective, it doesn't matter. I mean, my view of it is, if you develop a software, a piece of software that does something specific, you've developed a product, a process, a system. It's saleable. It's a product. It's a technology. Technology is used in its loosest form. I mean, this could be used to if you've developed an innovative service, for example. This can be applied to that as well. It's not strictly about manufacturing. It's the knowledge transfer part that's more important. Yeah, thanks for asking that question. I didn't mean to apply just to the technical. Anyone else? Yeah.
Very interesting presentation. Thanks for the details there.
Thank you.
A couple of questions just about the scale of the work that you do, say, for last year.
Yeah.
You said there's in excess of 13,000 opportunities there in the network. How many Irish companies would have had a successful agreement last year, and what sort of value would there be around those?
Okay,
Typically either individually or total.
Okay, I can't put a monetary value on it. A lot of companies have, I've probably written, 25 profiles of companies in the last few months. They're all up there. They stay up as long as possible, as long as you want them renewed. I know we put them up for about 6 months, and you can want to renew them after that. I'm trying to think of a number. It's about the same rate as R&D. So the attrition rate is huge. You'll get a small single figure positive response rate. What I wouldn't underestimate is, however, by engaging in this process, you do engage with interested parties overseas, right? It may not translate eventually, finally, into a formal license agreement. You may not end up working with these people, but I think the networking and the contacts you gain through this process are hugely underrated. So value, I think the value is quite high. What I would say is it's worth trying, because it costs you nothing. It costs you a couple of hours, maybe 2 or 3 hours. I tend to operate, meet a company, I will write a draft profile, because people like to edit what's down on paper already. So a few hours will put a profile together, put it out there and see what comes back. Like what you should be doing, if you're in that position and you think that you want to use this avenue, what I'd recommend you do is you'd be able to identify potential target companies for yourself. So if if there's obvious companies, approach them directly. Put this out as well, and so you spread your net as wide as possible, trying to find potential partners. It works. I've had one company, I won't go into the details because it's confidential, but they've got a really, really good result this year that's enabling them to get into a much, much wider audience. It is worth it. My colleague Sean Burke was to do this presentation, so he's given me his slides. Now, I'm going to apologise in advance. As you can see, my background is purely is technical. From start to finish, 35 years, I deal with technology partnering, and in the earlier days, hands-on technology development. I know little or nothing more than you about funding, particularly H2020 funding. I am getting involved in it. We will be involved with the EEN. Are going to be asked to do assessments of companies. We will be doing, my colleagues will be doing, if things go according to plan, we will be doing innovation audits of companies when they're awarded the funds. So we'll be dealing with companies at the latter stage of H2020 funding. I'll go through Sean's slides and I'll give you an overview on how, the main fact is that FP7, which you may be familiar with, is the old European funding. This is slightly different, and I'm concentrating on a few slides here about the SME involvement in this. I'm not an expert in it, I may not be answering the question, but what I will say is if you want to talk to somebody, come to Marion, come to me, and we'll put you through to the most appropriate national point of contact who should be able to answer the more intricate details. Okay, the H2020 is essentially different from funding, the research and development funding. It's coming from Europe and it's going to last from now to 2020. It is in its infancy. The first call is probably out now at the moment. It is still evolving, trust me. The ideas there, the level of funding is well known. We have our national contact points in place. If you want to know who they are, we can get you the details on that. But a lot of the ongoing stuff it's advancing reasonably well, but it is far from resolved, trust me, because there's lots of meetings left to be had in Europe. The real thing here, compared to the FP7, I don't know if any of you have been involved with the FP7, they've tried to make it much simpler. It's less thematic, it's supposed to be, it's going to be a little bit easier, but more importantly, it's more SME friendly. Before, you used to have to get involved in consortia, you had to lead partners. It was very different. There was no way an SME could get funding from Europe directly. In this case, you can. The idea is it's going to work more quickly. The other thing too, the focus before tended to be on technology. This time it's more on the business development. It can be around the technology, it can be around an R&D project, but it's more about the business development. So they want to know that the business is going to be successful. That's the key question. So, as this says, 20% of the budget is targeted for SME. LEIT, as far as I know, is leadership in entrepreneurship or something in industry and technologies. I can get you that. Don't ask me what the acronyms are, to be honest. But bottom line is the SME instruments, 70% of the funding available directly to SMEs. So you can get in there, and there is money there. What I would say is, practically, if your business is very, very small and you're a startup, H2020 funding is probably not for you. It is very competitive, and you have to prove that it is a very high-level business. It's novel, it's unique, it's innovative. So if I'm not trying to turn anyone off, it's available, but it is extremely competitive. Okay? So it's targeted at all sorts of innovative companies, and its ambition to develop and grow. This is the SME instrument. The third one there is the key one for this particular round of funding. Single company support. You can actually go in with a project. If you've got a suitable project, yourself as an individual company get funding for that project. You just have to prove that it's worthwhile. There's three stages to it. You don't have to go start at the beginning and work through all the stages. If you've got a sufficiently developed project company, you can actually come in at stage 2, and the funding levels, it says 70% funding. This is the space I think they're trying to fill. Okay, there's funding available for university, the early stage research side of it. And when you get to a stage where you've got a well-developed product and you start to get interest from the angel investors and that, it sort of takes its own course. It's bridging that gap from developed product to getting investors interested in it, that this is the target, this is what we're trying to develop here, this is the gap that we're trying to bridge with this support. And that is a key problem for people, and it's a common problem I'd see as well. You get companies with very, very well developed ideas, and it's around finance. When you've proven it works, you get investors coming in at that stage. But most angel investors, most venture capitalists want to back a well-proven, a horse that's going to win. So it's bridging that gap and develop product to that point. There's 3 phases to it. First phase, lowest funding, concept and feasibility assessment, then the demonstration market part of it, and then the final commercialization stage, and the money goes up accordingly as you go through that. You see that thing at the bottom there? The plan is that through all this process, there will be coaching available for companies. And to be honest with you, that's the bit where myself and my colleagues in the EM will come in. We will be asked to do a gap analysis, an innovation analysis of the company, to identify weaknesses or gaps they might have in their expertise. So there is a provision there to bring in expertise outside to sort of try and train the companies as they go through this process. So it's important. You're not, you have to submit your proposals and that, but there are support. There is supports available to try and bring you up to speed in certain areas as this progresses. So it's not all doom and gloom. That's probably the key slide of the presentation, right? Phase 1, concept and feasibility. The values of the funding available for projects are down at the bottom, and the timescales. The aim of this concept stage is to prove at the end of it that you got a good, viable business proposition, not that you have a successful technical development. So it's not being branded, this particular offering, as a research and development fund, it's a business support fund. Okay? I'm not saying it can't be based on around technology, but it is concept and feasibility is, at the end of it, is this a good business proposition that can go forward? The next stage is to get to a point, this is the bridging point from getting from that concept stage through to a point where you've got a good, viable business, investor-ready business plan standard. And phase 3, which is the big stage of it, is when you get to the large commercialization phase. Okay. Most smaller companies would be at the concept development stage. As I said, it is very competitive, so you'd really want to have a very good, innovative project for this sort of thing. Okay? If anyone is interested in funding, I'd be happy to tell you. It's very, it is important that people understand the way the funding mechanisms work in the state and that, and it does depend on your company's size. Like a lot of people, probably with me to friend Enterprise Ireland, my employer, but a lot of people say, Enterprise Ireland don't fund this, Enterprise Ireland don't fund that. Enterprise Ireland's remit is to fund companies of a certain size, so it has to be, I think the criteria are 10 employees or more, certain turnover. There must be manufacturing, producing product and exporting. Prior to that point, it's the county enterprise boards. So, there's a very, very clear way funding is supplied in the country, and unfortunately, they're the rules we have to stick to. But, so, understand where the money comes from. If funding is what you want, understand what you're required to do it. In this case, the applications are much simpler than they were in the past. they're the number, they're the calls for the current year and 2015. So the phase one, the next one will be June this year. Phase two. To go back a little bit. Let's go back to this slide here. If you're looking at anything, take that slide home with your papers. That's the key. It tells you exactly what they're looking for. The applications, by the way, are quite simple this time around. It used to be that you had to give a 60-page application or something like that. For the first one, it's a very, very short proposal for phase one. It's the initial phase, okay? And that's basically what your proposal requires. It's a quick summary, what the project is, the description is the team, what the solutions are, the work plan is obviously there's issues about IPR, what the market is. It's 10 pages, I think, is what's required. It's very straightforward. The system that's been put in place is, I think, initially you give in a one-pager that's relatively easy filled out. You get some comments on that probably, or some feedback on that, and then you put in your 10-pager. I think that's the way the system can operate. Fast track to innovation, that will come in 2015, so I wouldn't worry too much about it now. It's again, it's fast track. It's to fast track really different projects that need to get up there quickly and have significant value. Okay. That'll just tell you what it is. Funding on this. I think these are available. These presentations.
Yeah.
As you go through this, you'll see the contact details there. You get in touch with Sean anytime, and you get more in-depth details here. And the Eurostars program, it's a collaborative program that's been in place before. That's got available too. What I would say is, there. Start looking at your get in touch with your national contact point. If you think FP or H2020 funding is for you, get in touch with your national contact point. Talk to them, meet them. We can tell you who your national contact points are, and that depends on the sector you're in and the area you're operating in. And I see Sean's inviting you to something on the 10th of December in the Convention Centre, which is the launch. It's a bit late for that, this is next or February. But there will be more. There are plans to run out proper introductions, in-depth details on H2020 funding, localised sites. They will be coming up starting. As it is evolving, it is available. It's not for everybody. So it's innovation. It's about business development rather than R&D, and that's the key message I have for you. And I don't think Sean's given a lot more. Thank you for your attention. There you are. If you want to give out to anybody, contact Sean Burton. Okay. That's where we're at. As I said, what I'd say to you is, I'm not going to be able to answer any in-depth questions on funding, but if you do think this is for you, come to me afterwards. We'll pick out the national contact points. I'll put you in touch with Sean. I'll take your details out of the contact. And apologies from Sean, he just ended up with something else he had to attend.
Any time, but if there's anything that you want to bring up now, or any questions you want to address to any of the three.
If anyone wants my card, just come up and take it. I leave them on the table here. Just take them, and by all means contact me. Particularly, as I said, if you're starting a business, or you're in the early stages, or you're dealing with companies who are starting business, or you're in this space, I'll be quite honest. I spend most of my life telling people their children are ugly, because I give you a very honest opinion of what you want. I'll point out, if I can, difficulties, issues I see with them. It's very, very difficult for companies when they're starting out. You do fall in love with your product, and you're inclined to, I call it the X factor thing. You've got probably developing something confidential. There's a requirement for secrecy. You don't want to disclose things. It's sometimes good to have another opinion that isn't tied into it. That's why I say the children are ugly thing, because a lot of people don't take a step back and lose objectivity when they're developing their own business. I don't mind I've found over the years I tend to spend my life telling people problems and why things aren't it's if you ever take any lesson from anything, is if you've got an idea that's not viable, kill it off as early as possible. Because the longer you wait with your idea, the longer you push your idea forward, the more expensive it becomes. So critically evaluate your business, your concept, and everything you do. Always apply some critical review of it, regular basis, and if there's a reason your idea is not going to work, the reason not going to see, it's better off killing it. If you have an idea today and you discover tomorrow it's not a good one, get rid of it, it's cost you nothing. If you progress with it to a year's time and you spend 100 grand on developing prototypes and that, it starts to hurt big time with your business. So I don't mind playing that role, I don't mind giving you sort of some feedback on your ideas if you want to.
Great. So we've got a question in the back here from the gentleman. I know some forms have gone around, so if you just be so kind to fill them in, and if you do have suggestions for any other events, for any information which you want in there, just make a note in there. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson, and thank you for the panel. Just a quick question.
Yes.
There's a key word here in the Horizon 2020, it's innovation. We in Plaza, we are currently initiating a quality control manifold projects coming from China. I just wonder, would this be fit into the innovation, or innovation is more about technology?
There is a big move. Innovation used to be seen as technical innovation. Universally, innovation is now being seen in its broader sense. It doesn't have to be technical innovation. It can be business process innovation. It doesn't matter. That's what I said. The key message I'm getting from Europe is that it's not technical innovation. It doesn't exclude technical innovation, but it's being recognised more that business process innovation is equally important. How you do things. Any innovation is acceptable, yeah. It doesn't have to be technical only. I don't know if that answers your question. We want to have a chat about it off screen, we'll have a talk about it. But innovation is now being seen as much more than just, technology, IT. In fact, I would go as far as saying other forms of innovation are becoming more critical because technology has a way of leveling itself out after a period of time. Everybody develops a sort of a similar level, similar capabilities, and it's the way business is done. Sometimes those innovations are where the real edge is for a lot of companies. Not exclusively, but that's being recognised, and that's acceptable as far as I'm aware in the H1. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, here.
Just a quick question in terms of micro enterprises.
Okay.
Is it even worth mentioning Horizon 2020 to the people who have less than 10 employees, less than $1 million?
An honest answer to that is it depends on the industry, it depends on what you're developing. If you've got a very, very clever product, process, if you come up with something really innovative, that goes back to that nice word, it might be. It may be that there is one of the areas that is, it's another key message from H2020 is societal impact. So if, for example, you've got a technology or something developed in that area, it may be. I wouldn't rule it out. The reality is, it would be more difficult for micro. You probably would need to bring it up a bit further, prove your concept a little bit, prove it to yourself, and start developing it a little bit more. Too early stage, like everything else, it's hard to get support. Do you want to have a chat with me afterwards?
And carry that, presumed through the County Enterprise Board rather than...
Yeah, as I said, the EEN now, to be honest with you, will lend itself quite well to micro enterprise. So it's open to you. So if you want to, as I said, take a card. If you want to have a chat about what you're doing, I'm quite happy to give you some feedback and maybe give you some ideas on how you bring it forward.
Any other inputs? Can I ask Susan, where are the rooms for the one-to-ones? Okay, so for those of you who are booked in with Barry and Colin, the rooms are across the hall there. If there isn't anyone else, there's the offer over tea and coffee. Perhaps grab them over there, and Colin's cards, I'm sure
I'll leave them here.
Colin's colleagues there. Thank you very much for